No, we could go live right now. I'm gonna tell you right now. So this is what you gotta do. Man, it looks awful.
That was so boring.
All right, so here's the deal. Hopefully, hope you guys are getting this. It's awfully blurry. We're on our back porch with just some ambient lighting, and we're gonna do a Q&A. We're gonna try to make this happen. We don't do much live stuff, so I got Heather out here. She's gonna help me out. So this is what I've done. So some of these, I just screenshotted it. You can see who it's from on Instagram. That's obviously the question at the bottom.
Oh.
And then you can just scroll, go right.
Mm.
And then what I've done too is like when I get to like these are all posts. These are all questions. Those are all questions. Those are questions.
Okay.
Okay. And you guys are welcome to ask questions too. Man, that webcam is like a potato. And I'll try to like watch the screen and maybe answer some questions you guys might have as well. Thought about pre-recording this, obviously, so it would look better and I could kind of edit it up a little bit, but the hell with it. Let's just do it live.
All right, you ready?
I'm ready. Hold on a second. For real this time. From Alberta. Right on. So, obviously, with the coronas circulating, everybody's at home. They got nothing to do. So we figured.
Well, some people are at home.
Where are they at?
Some people are working.
Oh, most everybody's kind of quarantined in some form or fashion. So we're gonna do a live video.
When are you going to finally finish the car?
That's number one question I get probably. No hurry, just whenever it's done. I want to rush through it.
Where do you get your metal stuff from?
Most of the stuff I get is from metal supermarkets. They're about an hour and a half from me, but the awesome thing is they'll deliver here to the house. So I'll go on their website or just call them, tell them what I want. I usually order full sheets of stuff, and then they just pallet it up. And then I'm usually never in a big hurry, so whenever they get by the house to drop it off, that works for me. I got forks on the tractor, so I can just pull it right off the truck and then I put it up. So metal supermarkets, they're all over the country. They've sponsored the channel in the past. I don't know. I probably pay a little more for it, but the convenience is nice for me, especially where we're at. We're not in a big city, so it's not like I can run down to my local metal supply.
Somebody asked, when are you going to host a meet and greet at the Fab Barn?
Kill Fab Farms.
Something
we've talked about it.
Yeah.
Kind of. We're not sure what we want to do. I think I've been kind of
our house.
Yeah, so part of the problem is it's here at my house. We've kind of considered maybe a commercial space at one point. What I think I may do is one of two things. May do a giveaway for like a like a long weekend here at the house. So we'll put you up, maybe 2 people could win. We put you up, you hang out, feed you the whole 9 yards, do the fab thing, be in some videos. So that's idea number one. Number two is actually put on like a camp. So like a fab camp style deal.
For younger kids.
Yeah, I'd kind of initially thought about it for younger kids. But may open it up to anything. We don't know yet. We don't know 100%. One of the things that we kind of struggle with out here is where to put people. We thought about doing like RV hookups out by the shop. So I don't know. It'll come. Don't know that I'll do a full open house here, but who knows?
I feel like we just moved in.
Yeah, I feel like we're still moving in.
It says Evan Houston says, I'm trying to start my own business so that I don't have to work on the road. What would be your top 3 best advice to do so? To start your own business?
It's tough, man. Without asking a bunch of questions. I don't know. The most general answer I can give you is just start. So I think too many people think about it for too long and never actually do anything. Just start. Like if you want to open up a fabrication business, start fabricating stuff on the side. Start building stuff for your buddies. Go get a job at a local shop. The quickest way to learn things, in my opinion, is to go work for those people that can teach you what you want to learn. So, you know, if you want to be I'm just going to use fabricator as an example. If you want to do that, if you want to build, you know, custom cars, drag cars, whatever it is, go find a shop that does what it is that you want to do. Go work for them. Even if you don't make that much, figure it out and learn those skills. Learn how they run a business like that. Learn how they acquire customers. Learn how they take care of customers. And then take that knowledge, because it's more valuable than the actual money they paid you, and then go start your own.
Is that three? Is that three things?
Is that three? I don't know. That's the main ones. Just roll that. Oh, by the way, too, we got our kids there. They're doing movie night, so there's a good chance we'll get interrupted.
Yeah.
You scrolling through?
Yeah. Are you going to do any carbon fiber parts on the new car?
Yes, for sure. So I don't want to give anything away because I've got some stuff in the works, but some of the stuff I had initially planned on being carbon may not be carbon, but I may still make them in carbon and have two sets to interchange, or, you know, just to make content, I guess. I've got a bunch of carbon fiber left. So I've got all the materials I need to do it. I just got to do it. And it really hadn't been a priority thus far, especially with me thinking that we're going to pits and stuff. I was kind of putting it off, but yes, more carbon coming soon.
Can you recommend any good fabrication books?
I feel weird because, like, you're reading what I can read.
But you're answering.
Oh, fabrication books. I mean, I'm sure there's some good ones out there. I'm not much of a reader, so you're asking the wrong person. More of like a visual guy. I'm sure there's some out there. I'm sure there's. You don't know. Yeah, I don't. Okay. I don't know though.
What inspired you to build the Bibster? I think there's a whole video on that.
Talked about it a couple times. I've done a whole video on it. I get, though, that some people are new to the channel, don't see a lot of the old content, and so I kind of revisited it on a normal basis. One of the things we were going to do at Ponies in the Smokies was tell that whole story. And I guess since we're not going, I can kind of maybe.
Well, we're going in July.
Yeah, but it's going to be July. Yeah. So I can kind of give you a little Easter egg of what I was bringing. So I was going to bring two cars. One was going to be the Bibster, and the other one was going to be. Should I tell him?
Yeah, sure.
The other one was going to be Chad Bibb's car. So the Bibster is built in memory of a friend of mine, and he had a car. And you guys have probably seen Chuck on the channel a couple times. Chuck is my longtime homeboy, and me and him and Chad were really close. We all had Mustangs. Chad passed away in a four-wheeler accident, and his car kind of made some rounds within the family. And long story short, Chuck got it and totally rebuilt the thing. I mean, it's amazing looking. Had it painted. The body's perfect. I mean, he replaced everything, motor. I mean, the whole nine. He did a full-off, basically, restoration on this thing. And we were going to bring it and kind of debut it there, and we still will in July. That's the plan. Is we're going to have both of the Bibsters there in July. But kind of sucks that we didn't get to make that happen next weekend.
Yeah.
But it's still going to happen, and I'll make a full video about it. But yeah, long story short, the Bibster is built in memory of a friend of mine. It's not necessarily like his cup of tea. Like, he wasn't a hot rod guy, but he was a Fox body guy. And I've always wanted to build a modern day hot rod. And I just felt like it was fitting to do it in honor of him.
Is the steering shaft on the Bibster collapsible in case of impact?
So the good thing about the Bibster, the entire chassis on that thing is all custom custom, right? There's nothing original from Ford. What I did do though was I kept, so to kind of save myself some time, and now that you've watched this build happen for the last 2 years, you understand why I was trying to save some time, even though it's taking forever. I took a lot of stuff off of a Fox Body Mustang, mainly like the pedal cluster. That whole assembly is all Fox Body stuff. I wanted to use like a Fox Body clutch cable, steering shaft, and all that stuff. The like the brakes, all the brake setup and rear end and all that stuff is off of Fox Body stuff. I wanted to make it interchangeable. So long story short, the column is factory, and a Fox Body column itself has a collapsible section in it. So yes, the portion I added is not. The collapsible portion in the column is though.
Anything planned with Mike Finn?
I don't know. Listen, y'all go hit him up. Y'all go tag him on Instagram. Yeah. I tried. He's just here in Atlanta. He's like an hour and a half from me. I'm down there all the time. I've talked to him. At SEMA. I've talked to him online. I've mentioned stuff in videos. He seems like he's down. I mean, I get that he's a busy man. I'm pretty busy myself. But yeah, no plans as of yet. I'd love to I'd kind of mentioned racing the Fab Cab against the against his 4-door, was that 3+3 ramp truck that he's got, which I think would be a great race. And now that he's twin turbo, I'd still race him. I don't care. I'd put some spray on I'd put some nitrous on the Fab Cab and we'd go run them. But man, it's really up to him. I'm down anytime.
You already got one car that's all metal, the Bibster. Why not make the new car, the white one?
Maybe.
All composites-ish.
So
talking about the white one?
I guess so. So here's the deal. The Bibster has been a 2-year deal for me right now. Partly because we've had a lot going on with moving and shop build and just whatever. I mean, no excuses. It's just been a long build. So I kind of wanted something that wasn't going to be long. Like we could literally, me and a couple of my buddies could throw it together in a weekend. And so that was the idea with the white car. I wanted to kind of leave it Mustang, but, put a little bit of money in safety and chassis and then be able to put any kind of engine combo I wanted in that thing. We could start off with a 5-liter Go Race Lemons. I could put an LS swap in it. To be honest with you, I was looking at like Honda K-swapping that thing today. I was going to see if they made like bell housings to put like a T5 or T56 on a Honda K-series engine. Just whatever. I want to be able to put whatever. I want it to be like a shop beater. Something comes up, we're like, yeah, let's go do that. We can throw some stuff in it and go. And I don't care if it gets scratched. I don't care if we put a dent in it, and really not care. And but I want to make it fast. I don't want it to be a long-term deal. I've got a long-term project that everybody asking when it's going to be done. I want something that we can just go do burnouts in, or race, or take it to the drag strip. I can let all my friends and anybody that's around drive it, and I won't care. So that's kind of what the plans are for the white car. You want to start doing some of those? No?
Jeannie Anderson says, do you think you hit the lottery with your beautiful wife?
Yes, I do. Definitely.
And does your wife ever get mad at you at your car stuff? Says Ryan Winkler. I get mad?
She doesn't get mad. She does.
Jealous.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the right word. She doesn't get mad. But one of the questions I had on Instagram, because that was where I basically said I was going to do a live Q&A, was on Instagram first. Yeah, we'll read those in a second, but I'll go ahead and answer one of them. And that's, how do you balance family life and car life? And so I don't know if a lot of you guys know, but I have a day job too. So I go to work during the day. So I kind of have time to film all day. That's partly why my projects take so long, because the only time I can work on them is usually at night. Yeah. The way I balance that is that I try to, as long as we're not in a hurry to get something done to go somewhere, I try to go to the shop after everybody goes to bed. So I try to help her put the kids to bed. I put her to bed. get her, turn on Netflix for her and find her a nice show. And then I go to the shop and work. Yeah. And when I come to bed, everybody's asleep. It's, midnight or later. I mean, I definitely burn the midnight oil, and then I'm up at the crack of dawn, take the kids to school. I mean, it's definitely tough. It's not an easy balance, but we've talked about me YouTubing full time. I think I could definitely crank out a lot more videos. I'm probably leaving a lot of opportunity on the table by not doing it, but for us right now, it just doesn't make sense.
What kind of hypnotism did you use to get your wife to marry you?
I rapped to her. Pulled out an old ghetto rap from the days in California.
No. You showed up on my doorstep, like literally.
I wouldn't take no for an answer.
Wouldn't leave.
For real. That's no joke.
What is your day job? A lot of people have that question.
I do IT work for local government. Most people would not think so. They were like, what?
All right, let me see if I can work your phone.
What's up, Mick?
Chuck's on here. Solar Shield of Cinta.
Is he? Yeah. Right on. What's up, brother?
Brian Graham. His own name. Okay, this one comes from Sick Fox. He says, "Did you have a heads up about the COVID-19 because you bailed on 2x2K with me?"
Okay, so y'all remember Sick Fox probably on Instagram. He has the white coupe that we did the turbo downpipe on. We only did like maybe 2 videos on it. Anyway, long story short, I was invited to go to Texas 2K, and
is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's TX 2K is what it's called. It's a big race out in Texas. And I initially told him I was going to go, but I kind of backed out at the last minute. But it wasn't because of the virus or because of him. I just had so many engagements that I'd already promised. Ponies in the Smoky. I mean, just a bunch of stuff that I already promised to go to. And because I got a day job.
This is the first time hearing that.
Like I only have so much time that I can take off of work and stuff like that. And so I had to bail on that.
When do you think you'll do more carbon videos, maybe with updated tips or tricks?
Yep. Soon. We already answered that one, but soon. Okay. Or not soon. I will definitely do some more though, for sure.
How is the bits are not rusting? Where I live, that would be red in a day. So Jake.
So 2 things. 3 things. 1, I have a dehumidifier in the shop that keeps it below 75% humidity all the time, no matter what. It just basically pumps water out of the shop air. Runs constantly when it's raining, and then obviously when it dries out, it shuts off by itself. That's one way. The other way is I use 2 products. One is called Dry Coat. I've done a Friday video on it before. You can probably search it on the channel. It's a temporary pickler. Best way to kind of describe it. You can spray it on. You wipe it down. I just use it almost like a cleaner. I'll spray the metal when I'm working. I'll spray it, kind of clean it, and I'll put a film on it that you can't really see. That'll keep it from flashing over. When I know I'm done with something, then I shark hide it. And a shark hide is the permanent coating. It's on most of the body and chassis now. And it will forever be what keeps that thing bare metal like it is. When we put that thing together for final assembly, we'll go in there and sand and clean and try to get any blems out that we can. And then we'll definitely go through and coat that whole thing in shark hide. And then the awesome thing about shark hide is that if there is any issues or I have to do some updates, welding, whatever, I can just sand that one little spot and then shark hide it again. And you really can't see where you did that. It just kind of blends right back in and rock and roll.
Okay, 2 questions, kind of the same thing. Any plans to do any kind of bike or power sports build? When's the off-road rig going to happen?
So the problem is with all those things, I would love to do all those things. Like I'd love to do like a trophy truck style build. I'd love to do like an Ultra 4 style build. I've got a bunch of buddies around here that are into off-road stuff. Actually got a guy that does Ultra 4 and runs King of the Hammers. I mean, I could pick their brains and probably source parts from them, and it would be a pretty simple thing to do as far as getting parts and getting knowledge. Would love to do one. I want to do it. Time. I got to finish what I got, and that's my biggest thing right now. I mean, I guess I need to get some help. Would love to do a bike. I've talked to her several times about a bike.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of bikes.
I don't know that I'd ride it that much, but I think just my creative side wants to build it just to see what my creation would turn out like, and I'd probably sell it or something. Yeah.
Your videos and builds, love them. Tube chassis daily, less than 3,000 pounds. What tubing type, diameter, wall thickness, and what filler?
So what they're asking, I think, is they want to build a tube chassis daily ride under 3,000 pounds. No, you said it good. Diameter. So what I tell everybody when they ask me about chassis specs and stuff, I always refer them to like, just go see what the NHRA requires in a tube chassis car, because they've already done all the engineering, they've already done all the safety stuff, they've already done all that stuff. Go see what they require. They're going to have, you can basically look at like a 25.5 or 25.2 safety spec within the NHRA. It's going to tell you tubing size, wall thickness, how they want to, run with X bars and main hoops and all that kind of stuff. I would start there. That's kind of what I tell everybody as a general rule. The Bibster is mostly 1 5/8, 0.58, I believe. And there's some 1.5" chromoly in there. And so, I mean, that's what I used. It's plenty strong. I mean, it's, I've had some people kind of mention or question the strength of the Bibster, and maybe they just don't know or they don't see it in person, but like, it's basically like a double frame rail. It's basically like a Pro Mod double frame rail car chassis on, but the thing might weigh 1,800 pounds or something.
Has the Bibster scratched the itch for a full custom build, or is there more in the dome?
I think it's as full custom as it gets. I don't think it gets any more custom than.
Yeah, but has it scratched the itch? Or are you gonna build more?
No.
Stuff?
I tell you, the bad thing about the Bibster is it's hard for me to go backwards now. It's like hard for me to go buy something and like bolt on parts. Like, that's not gonna be fun for me anymore. Like, everything I want to do now is full custom. I've got a supercar build in my head that I want to do. It's gonna be like full custom, but I mean, I don't know that it'll ever happen just because of time.
How did you become so good at metal? Any tips for new guys trying to learn?
It comes natural for me, which is like, a crappy answer.
Yeah.
But the reason I say that is because it's hard for me to give advice when I don't feel like I don't know that people get it the way that I do. I mean, I don't know. Right? I mean, to me, it just feels normal, but I just go, man. I just start and then try to figure it out as I go. I mean, I don't really think I'm that great. I look at a lot of the work that's done out there by other guys, and I'm like, man, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think I'm that great, but just go, man. I just start doing it. I see it, which helps. Like, I can see something done, and I can be like, I understand how that was made. And so then I can then take the tools to kind of replicate what I feel like needs to be done to make that part or piece or tubing or whatever. But what I've come to realize is I don't know that it comes as easy for others, so it's kind of a tough question.
Are you still planning on building a gun range?
Yep.
Yes.
I've already got one that's kind of makeshift now, but
this whole panic has me shooting guns.
Oh my gosh.
Let's see. What would you recommend to someone looking to get out of the daily grind and get into a fabrication career?
I kind of touched on it earlier. The gentleman that asked, or I'm assuming it was a gentleman that asked about starting their own business. Mm-hmm. Kind of the same deal. I mean, that's kind of what I did. And to be honest with you, I'm still in the daily grind. But back in the day, when I was kind of in the shoes of, I want to get out of this before I started doing IT work. When I was like, I want to get out of this, I was doing everything I could on the side. I created the Fab Forums forum page. And the idea was that I was going to sell ads and I could get, I was always trying to think of what I could do that could be on its own while I was at work, like it would be working on the side. And that's kind of how I got to YouTube, which is perfectly that. I mean, technically, I can go to work and YouTube's still doing its thing during the day. I just have to create that content in the evenings. But I'm always trying new stuff, always trying to figure out something. You just got to do it, man. You'll figure it out. Or you could find somebody that already does what you want to do and go try to work and learn from them.
Somebody wants to know, what are you drinking?
A whiskey, Coke. It's kind of my go-to.
I'm drinking sweet red wine.
Yeah.
I don't know if they really care what I'm drinking. But...
This is our like hangout. This is our back porch. We're just chilling. Any tattoos?
How does Heather deal with your habit? Any tattoos?
What habit? My car habit?
Your drinking habit?
Yeah. So on the car habit thing, I'll give you a little teaser. And maybe I've mentioned it before, but as some of you guys know, I've got some of my content on Amazon Prime, but I want to do like a full feature documentary style video on Amazon Prime, like full length. I'll post it on YouTube, I'm sure, probably, but it'll be after the fact. Like you have to go watch it there first, and then it'll hit YouTube. But I want to spend a ton of time. I want to use every relationship that I've got in the fabrication business. Mike Furyk and everybody that I've met over the years, get them all involved, interview all of them, and it's going to be 100% about the car habit and why it even exists.
Yeah.
Like, what about automotive? What about cars and motorcycles and that sort of thing? Why is it so irresistible to so many people?
Okay, do you have any tattoos?
Nope.
Nope.
Stories about the tattoos. I love them. Like when I see them on people, I'm like, oh, that's so rad. Totally want that. I want this, a sleeve. I don't have a single one. I just can't
commit.
I can't commit.
Yeah.
And I've talked to her about it a bunch of times. I love the idea of it. I love the way they look on other people. Just can't commit. I don't know.
Looking forward to the Lemons race. Will you drive?
Yeah, for sure. So I've got 3 other guys that are going to do it with me. And it may end up being more than 3 with some pit guys and stuff if we have some other folks that want to get involved. But and they're really the ones that talked me into it, because the car itself was just going to be, I was going to basically use it as a donor car. I was going to take the stuff off that I needed or wanted and then just scrap the rest of it. And they kind of hit me up about this Lemons race. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I probably need a shop beater. We'll start off with the Lemons race and then we'll go from there. But yeah, for sure, I'll definitely drive. You'll see every minute of it, even the build. All that stuff's going to be on the channel.
Are you ever looking to do a diesel truck build?
As far as what? Because I just bought the Goat, my new tow rig, but man, it's not something I want to mess with. Like, I got it looking exactly like I want it. I don't know that I want to like jack with it, So, I mean, that's probably the extent of my diesel truck build. Although I wouldn't mind doing like a diesel build on something else. Like I would like to do like a legitimate rat rod. A lot of people call the Bibster a rat rod, but I don't consider it a rat rod. But I would like to do like a legit rat rod with maybe a diesel motor.
What's your proudest moment in life outside of working on fabrication and cars?
That's a loaded question. Because I mean, I guess it depends on what you're talking about. I mean, obviously, all my kids' birth are pretty proud moments as a father. I mean, if you're a male and you haven't had children yet, that's one thing that will change you for sure. I mean, obviously, married to my wife. I mean, there's a lot of things, but it really depends on, if you're talking about achievements, I don't know. It's a loaded question.
Okay. What would you recommend for a cheap TIG welder for a small home shop?
I don't know. This is the deal. I don't really want to tell anybody anything without personal experience. And I don't have a ton of experience in a bunch of TIG welders, other than a lot of higher dollar stuff, I guess. I know now is the best time that it's ever been for a cheap TIG welder, because there's a bunch of them out there that all of them are pretty dang good. You know what I'm saying? Really depends on like what kind of budget you got. If you like want to be really cheap, I've had one of those Eastwood digital TIG 200s. I did a video on it. I thought it worked awesome. My buddy's got it now. I gave it to him. Like, it was a great machine. I don't know what you would do if you had any issues with it. I don't know how Eastwood could handle that, because they're not necessarily a welding machine manufacturer. So I don't know how they would handle if you needed to return it to fix something. But so far on that machine, it was great, under $1,000.
So would you recommend an Everlasting?
I have an Everlast TIG. I love it. I've got the 325 EXT. I love the machine. I think it's still like a $2,000 or $3,000 machine though. So, it depends on what your budget is. If you're looking at spending $2,000 or $3,000, there's a ton of them out there that I don't have any experience with, but there's a ton of good ones out there nowadays. Obviously, I'm a Fronius guy. I get that it's out of the price range of some, but I mean, if you're going to buy a one-time machine, it's going to last you forever. Great support from the company and the highest quality manufacturing and technology in the machine. That's the way to go. So I mean, it really depends on the level, and I get that question a lot, and I hate to answer it because I don't know what the right answer is. Everybody's budget their low budget machine is different for everybody, and then you've got so many machines out there that I haven't tried yet. So I'd hate to say this is the machine you need to get when there's 5 other ones out there that I think are pretty great. I just haven't put my hands on them. I will tell you this though. If you get a TIG machine and you kind of figure it out, you probably won't go back to the MIG unless you have to. I mean, it is so nice to TIG weld because you don't have all the sparks and slag everywhere, and it doesn't make a mess. It's very time consuming, but they're nice. I mean, there's always a place for MIG welding as well, but you'll see. Actually, I'm working on a video right now that you'll see this Friday on the Bibster. Me finish up some tubing. I actually do some MIG welding, so I mean, there's a time for it.
Did you go to school for IT, and how did you get into fabrication?
Did not go to school for IT work. Always been very fascinated around like building websites and code and some coding and stuff like that. I mean, I was kind of, when I was trying to figure out like the Fab Forums initially and some of the website stuff that I've done over time, I would just self-teach, I guess. And then, I mean, other than that, I kind of lucked into an IT job. Because, I mean, as far as experience goes, I don't necessarily have what most places look for. But that's kind of my same story with fabrication, too. I mean, I don't have any technical experience in fabrication. None. I didn't go to a technical school. I didn't take a welding class. Nothing.
How'd you get into it?
I've always been interested in motorsports. I was always the guy in my group that was like more of the technical side, or like wasn't afraid of stuff. I mean, we'd have guys, we did a lot of drag racing back in the days. I'd have guys that break trannies. I'd be like, hey, let me have that thing. I'll take it apart. I didn't know what I was doing. I just take it apart and figure it out. And so then I turned into the guy that would like rebuild the trannies or, whatever it was. I was always that guy that kind of did the stuff or the tuning side of it. But on the fabrication part, I just hated paying other people to do it. And so like, I just remember I took like, as a young man, I was always that anti credit card, anti borrowing money. I remember I got my first credit card and I was like, man, I'm gonna buy me a welder. So I just bought it. Had no idea what I was doing. Bought a welder, got it at the house, started welding, you know.
The rest is history.
The rest is history, as they say.
Have you or your wife been married before?
I have. We'll leave it at that. She has too,
Yes,
but
I've been married.
they're both stories in their own.
Yeah, personal stories.
Yeah.
What do you think about cars of the future?
Where did you read that comment at? Cars of the future. I'm very, very interested in electric stuff. Believe it or not, you know, most hot rod guys I think are like anti-electric, but true story. Like what, 2 or 3 years ago, maybe even longer than that, I was telling her, I'm like, electric's the future. This is before Tesla like got big. I don't even know if they were even making cars yet when I was talking to her about it. It might have been longer than 3 years ago, but I was like, electric's the future. I think I need to EV swap a Mustang and start making like high performance parts for these things because I see it really doing something. I mean, at the time you had a couple guys that were doing that, running 11s or something, using like DC motors out of a plant, like they weren't even made for cars. I never did it though, which goes back to me talking about just do it, because like a lot of times if I would have just done it, I'd been way ahead of the curve, and I would, you know, maybe I'd have and be, I don't know. But anyway, very exciting. Listen, they get the electric figured out. Combustion engines don't have a chance. I hate to say it, but I mean, electric's going to take over. They're going to be so much faster, so much quicker. It's just going to be insane.
These two questions kind of go together.
Hold on. Whiskey of choice. Heather likes
Crown.
Heather likes some
like
Crown.
Somebody else is asking, am I drinking wine? Yes, this is wine. I'm not drinking whiskey because I gave up soda for Lent till Easter. Otherwise, I would be drinking what Kyle is drinking.
Yeah, she likes to drink some whiskey too.
But I like Crown. I don't like the cheap stuff.
Yeah, so I like Crown. Crown's good. I like Jack Daniels too, but I'm cheap, so I buy Canadian Hunter. And then what I do, here's the trick, fellas, ladies and gentlemen. You buy a small thing of Jack or Crown, and you buy a big thing of Canadian Hunter.
What cheap, whatever.
And then you just mix it together, and then you get a little bit of sweetness off the whiskey. Anyway,
that's what we do.
Yeah, I don't want to make this about alcohol.
So what's the estimate in budget for the Bibster? And somebody else asked
something like that.
Something, yeah. What is it?
Probably way up. Catholic.
No, we're not Catholic.
They're talking about the Lent, though. I think Lent is a Catholic
How much do
thing,
you think you have spent on this project so far?
On the Bibster.
Yeah.
But Lent is a Catholic thing.
It is.
It is, yeah.
You're right.
But no,
we
we're not.
are not Catholic, but we do observe Lent.
Yeah, I like even the non-Lent things. I think it's good to challenge yourself sometimes. To sacrifice, yeah. To
deprive yourself of things.
Yes, I think it's good. Purpose. So mine was sweets. Like I gave up 100% sweets across the board.
Cookies, cakes, candy,
hard candy, gummies, anything. It's been tough too because people at work, like, they tease me with
Girl Scout cookies.
Like, ooh, look at these brownies. Yeah. So anyway.
So like the budget for the Bibster, and how much do you think you spent so far?
No budget. No budget.
Never a budget.
there sometimes there is. No. The purple truck, the Crown Spoyal.
You had a budget?
Yeah, I knew I wanted to sell it for like under 10,000, so I didn't want to I wanted to make some money on it. All right. So the budget on the Bibster wasn't. I don't have a budget for it, but I knew the fact that I was building everything, I knew that it wasn't going to cost me a ton of money. So a little bit of background, the donor car that I bought for that thing, I paid $1,800 for.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that I ruined a good car, but it was an $1,800 car. If
It was
that,
a piece of junk.
it was a piece of junk.
Had
I mean,
like rats' nests in it, and just
it looks
nasty.
great.
It smelled bad.
It probably looked okay on camera, but like in person, awful. It was rusted.
Yeah.
They had like cut brake lines. They didn't do like a line lock. They just cut the rear brake lines, and it was just a bad deal. So the rear end, it had good axles in it. It had like some Moser axles and you know, a gear and some stuff in it. So the rear end came out of that car. The 351 Windsor motor, which I haven't gone through yet, but as long as it's in decent shape, that came out of that car. A steering column, the pedal cluster, a lot of the brake stuff came out of that car. So I mean, and then there was like a C4 in it that I sold, so I got some cash back. I sold the interior out of it, so I got some cash back. What else? I sold the wheels and tires of that thing, so I got some cash back. I mean, I think literally just like in the rear end motor, pedal cluster, like a lot of that, the doors, you know, the latches and stuff. I didn't want to have to make all the latches and stuff, so like the body piece that I've got and the doors, you know, I may not have anything in that, and if I do, it's only a couple $100. So I mean, I started off with basically nothing. I've probably got maybe $2,000 in tubing, mainly because it's chromoly, but I probably don't even have that much in it. I mean, I've made everything. I mean, sheets of metal cost, you know, 100 and something bucks or something. So a lot of time. I mean, I've got like fuel pumps. I'll have some money in it. You know, the transmission, the clutch, the hydraulic system, the drive shaft. I'll have a custom drive shaft made for it. I mean, that stuff will cost some money, but in my eyes, it's when it's done, it'll be a one-off piece of art that, you know, an $85,000 piece of art or whatever those kind of builds go for, and I won't have nowhere near that in it. I'll have a ton of time, and if you equate time, I guess, you know, at a shop rate, you know, I'll probably have $100,000 in time in it.
Are there more tools for sheet metal work that you would like to get for the shop?
So number one on my list is a CNC plasma machine. I'd really like to have a plasma.
Yeah, somebody asked about CNC. I forgot that one. Sorry.
I'd like to have a plasma table. I think it would benefit me the most right now for several reasons. I could make stuff for Kill Fab, make, you know, projects for you guys to do, kind of like I've done in the past. And then I can make a lot more custom stuff for projects in the shop as well. If I had somebody that would cut some thicker sheet metal. Right now, you know, it's done manually or it doesn't get done at all. So that's like number one on the list. I wouldn't mind having maybe a power hammer or like a pull max, but it's not super important right now. I mean, I can kind of get by without it. Pull max would allow me to do a lot more intricate detail work, and I haven't got to that point on the Bipster yet as far as like making nice detailed pieces to go around like the rear window, you know, frame and stuff like that. So I think once I get closer to that, then I'll probably start hunting for something. But you know, I still got a lot to do in the shop still too. I got a lot of money that needs to be spent down there, so it's not a priority right now. What else? I'd love to have like a big stomp shear. I've kind of been looking on Facebook Marketplace for one. I'd like to have like an old one with some character, but you know, I'll just kind of take whatever I can get once the time's right.
So is the shop going to be independent of the grid at all? Maybe some solar?
Who posted that?
Manchu Green.
So the only reason I ask who posted that is because I've got several guys that I know on YouTube that are off-grid guys. Like that's what they do. They're YouTubers that do off-grid stuff. Yeah. They basically said they'll come out and help me set it up. There's one guy, I haven't talked to him, but there's one guy right here local to me that has a pretty big channel that does off-grid stuff, and the other people that I've talked to know him and whatever. The other thing is Fronius actually has a solar division. I don't know that they'd actually work with me, but that's another thing. So I would love to do it at some point. Not a huge priority right now, but that would be awesome to do like a full off-grid solar setup, battery setup, maybe pump some juice back into the grid.
We can do it for the house too.
Yeah. I mean, obviously self-sufficient, for sure, but actually making it happen is one thing.
Do you have suggestions for sourcing material? I don't live where you do, so I'm wondering about places that ship.
Look, your wife is all the sugar you need.
I saw that.
What was the question again? Sorry, I got distracted.
Do you have suggestions for sourcing or shipping materials? Like metal, I guess, or like...
Not shipping, but like I mentioned at the beginning, I use metal supermarkets. Probably pay a little bit more, but it's so convenient, man. They deliver it right to my house. I just order what I need. I've also got a buddy of mine that does chassis work locally that I get on my Chrome Molly from. Shout out Scott Black, Chassis Pro. He probably doesn't watch my stuff, but yeah, I don't think he watches my stuff.
What are your thoughts on Hot Rod Power Tour 2020? Think you will make an appearance this year?
I don't even know where it runs this year. It came like right through my backyard a couple years ago, and I should have did it then. And then Drag Week came through my backyard, like 100% through my backyard last year. I don't know. You know what's crazy is originally when I built the Goose, the idea was it was going to be a Drag Week car, and I never made it. Not only have I never made it, I hadn't even done the track yet. So we won't go there, but I'd love to do power tour. I still got the fab cab. We could throw the booster on an open trailer and do power tour. I don't know where it's at. I'd have to look at that.
Are you a fan of Jesse James? If so, ever think of reaching out to him to expand your skills, maybe a collab?
Yeah, for sure. Listen, I have a huge amount of respect for anybody that does anything with their hands. And it doesn't even matter if they do my kind of stuff. So like, I follow guys on YouTube that are into stuff that I'm not into, but I kind of have an appreciation for what it is that they do. Jesse James is you're not going to just reach out to him and him be like, yeah, come on down to my shop. Yeah. Let me show you what I do. But yeah, obviously.
You're a fan.
Yeah, I'm a fan. Yeah. I'm a fan of anybody that does anything with their hands.
Yeah.
Like I'm a fan of creation when it comes to like making stuff. And it doesn't even have to be metal stuff. You build a big business. I watch my buddy Beeve down on the coast who has tactile baby gear. You watch kind of what he's doing. I'm like, yeah, I'm a fan. They're making it happen. I'm a fan of anybody like that. The other thing is that you guys may not know about me is I'm like an underdog kind of guy. So like I follow these fabrication YouTubers that may not have a big following, like they're just getting started, and they remind me of me back in the day. Like, we met like when I was in my like 2-car garage, out there making my little videos, like little mask on. Yeah. So I actually love to follow those guys and kind of root them on a little bit. I don't know. I just see myself so much in those guys too, but fun fact.
Is there a podcast coming soon? The Chalkboard Wall room. Gosh, they can we know what you're doing.
Is there a what? Oh, yes.
Podcast.
Yes. I really wanted to start that sooner than now. Like I still haven't got to it. I need to build a table still. I've got a bunch of ideas of what I want to do and what I want to call it. People I want to have on it. I've got so much going on. And, the number one question I get is when's the Bibster going to be done? So it partially makes me like.
Or when's the Goose going to be done?
When you taking the Goose to the dyno? Yeah. So it
to
kind of
try.
partially makes me not want to start anything new, which is a kind of a good thing. I need to really kind of solidify some of the stuff I've already started.
Yeah.
But a podcast wouldn't take time away from it. It'd be like a couple hours once a week.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, I just don't have the equipment. I don't have a table. But yes. Would you watch? Is that the thing? Comment below if you would watch.
Do you do this full time?
Nope, I've got a day job. I do IT work. What's you got?
Well, I don't know. Is that
That's
all the pictures you sent me?
those are all the pictures.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read some off of the on here.
Oh yeah. Well, they're just not coming.
Let's see if there's any. Let's see if we add any on Instagram.
What's the best Lobe Separation?
Where?
What's the best something separation on a cam for 20 to 50?
Oh, lobe separation.
Sorry.
I don't know. I'll leave that to the professionals. The way I look at it when it comes to stuff like that is like there are guys that's what they do. So I don't spend the time to do the research. I just know. I just research I just keep my eye on the guys that are really doing big things, and so then I just let them handle that. I just call them up and say, "Hey, look, I got a twin turbo, 400 cubic inch. I plan on running this much boost. This is the transmission I'm running. This is what the car's going to weigh," and then I let them cut it. The fun fact on the Goose, I went hydraulic roller on that thing because I wanted it to be a straight car. I didn't go solid roller. Like I didn't go all out horsepower. I didn't go all out drag racing. I had them like tone it way down. It is a twin turbo cam, but I had them tone it down. And then the cam that was originally supposed to be in the Goose, like the solid roller setup, is actually going in the Bibster. So the Bibster is going to should sound pretty nasty.
Okay, that's all.
See, any more questions? You guys got anything else? We're like getting close to an hour. We made a whole hour, babe.
I don't know. I'm sure people are like, "What are your kids doing?"
They're in there. We can hear them listening.
They're 4 and 7, by the way.
Yeah, they're fine.
The baby's already in the bed.
Yeah.
And the big kid's upstairs, where she always is.
Yeah. I will tell you, on a anything boosted, you don't want a bunch of overlap on a camshaft. That's all. I'm just talking about back to the camshaft thing. For sure would watch. I guess that's the podcast.
Yeah.
So the idea on the podcast that I've got is brew. I'm gonna call it brew and badassery. So it'd be like brew. I like to drink like craft beers, and so it'd probably be like a craft beer. Or brew works with whiskey. Or if somebody's on the show that doesn't want to drink, we can serve them coffee.
Yeah, that's true.
So brew and badassery. And I probably mostly be around like car stuff. I mean, I've got a ton of old day car stories, drag racing stories, and I'd probably start off by bringing a lot of my buddies on that could tell those stories, but it'd really be open to anything. We talk about welding, whatever.
It's called me Mrs. Kyle.
Yeah, it's better than Mrs. Fab Forums.
My name is Heather.
Or Heavy.
No, just in case you wanted to know. Are you all pleased with your new house and location?
Love it. We love it out here. We've got the whole compound to ourselves. We got deer in the backyard, front yard. Kids can run around. We don't have to worry about
I mean, we
nothing.
went from like a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath to 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath. So we love having our own bathroom. We love living out in the country. We love having land, raising our kids out here, especially with everything that's going on. Like, we can just stay here, have fun. We don't have to leave. We don't need to. We can have a garden. We can hunt. Like, we can do.
I can shoot guns and make noise.
Yeah, like we can do what we want to do.
Nobody cares.
And we're not in a neighborhood.
Yep.
So, yes.
It's awesome.
We love it.
It's crazy to think that I've ended up where I'm at, considering I grew up in like San Jose, California, you know?
Yeah.
But All right, so we're getting
Ever thought of using a 427
small block Ford.
Sorry.
Look, you gotta learn these things.
This is my first time
On a build. I'll tell you this, like on builds, for me, it's almost like what is most readily available, because nowadays you can make so much horsepower with pretty much anything you have. I mean, you know, everybody's LS swapping stuff now, and I'm not against an LS swap setup, but I mean, with technology now, you can make a ton of power out of a 302. You know, I mean, an old 5-liter motor. When I built a coupe back in the day, it made 500 something wheel horsepower on a stock 302. And it probably wouldn't have lasted long. It probably would have split the block. But I mean, you know what I'm saying? You know, unless you're going to go drag racing, you don't need like a specific style setup. Now, I usually just take whatever I can get. Kind of like the Bibster. I just happen to be a 351. I think future builds, it'll be the same way. If I do I think at some point I want to venture out and do some of those inline 6-cylinder or 4-cylinder setups, maybe a Honda or a Toyota, or I don't know. We'll see. LS, I'm definitely gonna do an LS build soon on one of the trucks, probably LS swap Caliente at some point. The new white car may end up with an LS in it, so not against the LS stuff. I just haven't ventured out there yet.
All right, Mick 26 says, "What is your favorite thing about Heather?" Same for you, Heather. What's your favorite thing about Heather?
It's like the dating game.
We've met Mick, right?
We have. He was at Ponies and Smokies. You coming, Ponies, Mick? Coming in July. Now that's been rescheduled. Yeah. My favorite thing about her. Yeah. I don't know if we can talk about that. I think my wife is like exceptionally hot. Like I can't take my eyes off her. That's what I love about it.
Make me blush. My favorite thing about Kyle would probably be your positivity.
I'm a uber optimist.
Yes, you're always positive, even when I'm like down and stressed. You're like, yeah, trying to get me to see the best out of every situation.
I'm an uber optimist for sure.
We're definitely like a yin and a yang, like, you know. Yeah. Complimenting each other.
Yeah, we for sure are. Yeah. In that aspect, and like, I'm never satisfied with. I'm satisfied with what I've got because I'm not a material type of person, but I'm always looking for the next thing. Like I always want to like grow and create something. I'm really ambitious, and she's just good, like being with the kids and having a family. Like that's what she wants to do, which works perfect for us. Yeah. So.
Other than Mrs. Voss's cooking, what is your favorite food?
Love wings. Yeah, I'm on a taco kick right now.
Loves tacos.
So ever since SEMA, went to Vegas for SEMA this year, and we went to an after party, and they had like back alley street tacos, and I'm not lying when I say it's like back alley. They had like a taco cart. Man, they were the best tacos I've ever had. They were the street tacos, like that big around. They were fantastic. Ever since then, I've had like this. I've been on the hunt for those things again. I've even created. We tried to make them here. Like I've been like cutting cilantro. I mean,
going to the Mexican restaurant.
Yes. So I love tacos. I love like street tacos, like authentic street tacos. Yeah. Love wings. I'm a simple guy. Like I don't have to be fancy.
I cooked him chicken pot pie. That was the first meal I cooked for him, and he was hooked, I guess. And then
I was done. Yeah.
It said, "How did you guys meet?" You want to tell the story? So a friend of mine, like one of my best friends, her mom works at the county office that Kyle works at. And so she saw him out in town.
Was that a party? Yeah. Was that like a grand opening?
And she knew that I was single and he was single, and so she was like, you need to see this girl. I know this girl really well. I think she's really good for you or whatever.
Yeah. Well, kind of back up a little bit. We had a ton of mutual friends. So like I knew of her because we had a lot of mutual friends, but we'd never met ever. Yeah. And so like when she approached me that night, she was like, hey, Heather? And I was like, I know of her, She's like, y'all would whatever. So I like went home that night and I was like, so I like pulled the old Facebook thing.
Yeah.
Like looked her up on Facebook. I messaged her and I said, hey, so-and-so was trying to hook us up last night. The least I could do is shoot you a friend request. And so that's kind of how it got started.
Yeah. We just started talking.
She thought I was a weirdo.
No, I didn't. He wanted to meet before we'd ever talked on the phone or anything. I'm old school. I wanted to talk to you first.
Yeah.
And so
I'll tell you something that's interesting though. When we first we weren't even dating, like we were just kind of talking. I only had 8,000 subscribers on YouTube. Like YouTube wasn't even really a thing for me yet.
Yeah.
I don't know. You
I thought he was weird.
She thought it was weird.
I didn't know people did that.
Yeah, she was like, YouTube. People still do that. Don't you feel weird still telling people like, what does Kyle do? Well,
he's on YouTube.
He's on YouTube.
Have you ever used acetone in your fuel or used fuel additives?
No.
Changing the subject, but yeah.
I don't believe in it because I think it's, for the most part, a gimmick. I mean, a lot of people have a misunderstanding of like octane. Octane doesn't mean better fuel. Octane is just a resistance to ignition. So the lower the octane, the easier it is to ignite. Some circumstances you want higher octane because you have a lot of compression and it'll ignite before the spark plug actually sparks. But there's some circumstances where you need low octane, like diesel fuel is very low octane. You want the compression of the cylinder to ignite that fuel. And so octane is not a better or worse, and a lot of those additives play on the whole octane thing. So I don't ever fool with them. I mean, I've kind of read some stuff. I'd looked at building like a natural aspirated motor and maybe running some nitromethane in it. And so I kind of looked at the alcohol and how you mix nitromethane, and I'd kind of looked at that kind of stuff, but never actually did it.
How does she tolerate your addictions to metal?
What does that mean?
He's addicted to me more, so
yeah.
It kind of works.
I guess that maybe it's the balance thing.
Yeah.
What they're talking about.
How do you balance?
I put her to bed. She's watching some. I get her.
No, I make sure that there's a balance. I think.
Yeah, she's pretty good about that.
Kind of have to rein him in and say, we've got this. You need to be here for the kids' basketball games, or you need to be here for this, or whatever. Or these nights you can work late. You can work all day Sunday, or whatever. And I take the kids.
Yeah.
Because I know it's important to do what he needs to do.
Other than the weekends, though, most of the time when I got my hands on metal, everybody's in the bed.
Yeah.
So nobody really cares that I'm down there. That's not come out the right way, but you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's satisfied. Everybody had their dinner and bedtime story, and you're watching your show.
Okay. He works late hours.
Hey, if it was up to me, I wouldn't. But I mean, I gotta be dad too, and husband.
Has fabrication only been a hobby, or have you ever done it for a living?
Only been a hobby.
Amazing skills for doing it.
What I tell people is I'm not a professional fabricator because I don't technically make money doing it. I make money making the videos. So fabrication is just a hobby.
So she tell you when you get shop time.
Yep. Exactly. That's the way it should be, though. You should take care of your ladies, fellas.
Could you explain the ring gaping and different ways it's done? I'm seeing people now mill out a ring on top. the deck because I'm sorry.
Ring gaps are, like I said, I'm not like a motor builder. But I mean, ring gaps are very specific to your application. The ring size is going to matter on how big the gap is. The kind of how you're making horsepower is going to be very specific to the ring gap. If you're running nitrous or a blower, or you're producing a ton of heat, that ring is going to swell. You're going to need more gap. The bore size is going to matter to the ring gap. I mean, there's so many things that go into it. Just do your research on your combination. That's the best thing I can tell you. I mean, it's not a one size fits all answer. I mean, when I used to run a bunch of naturally aspirated stuff, you don't want the ring gap to be ultra tight, but you weren't making a lot of heat. But then you wanted that ring to be very loose too. You had really, loose oil rings and stuff because you wanted that thing to not have any. You didn't want it to bind at all. I mean, I remember coming through the pits, like the cars would smoke like mosquito foggers, but it's because nothing was tight. It basically worked perfect at full throttle, and any other time it was just barely holding oil. Anyway,
that's it. Unless I got any more.
Fight for the balance.
Send them in. Yeah, I do.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate y'all hanging around for an hour. That was awesome.
Yeah,
We'll have to do this more often.
Yeah, that's fun.
I'm glad we did it live. Even though it looks like a potato filmed it.
Everybody says I look gorgeous.
Well,
good.
All right, good deal. Still video coming Friday. Actually, I'm headed down to the shop right now. It is 9:30 our time. We're going to go put the kids in bed and have their movie going. And then I'm going to the shop to finish filming some Bibster content for you guys on Friday. Oh, one other thing. There's still 70 of y'all watching. I had an idea yesterday about going back and revisiting every Friday video that I did. Every tool. Go back and revisit every tool that I did from the very beginning and give you my thoughts on but usually most of them have been a couple of years. If I still like it, if I still use it, if I would change anything, if I would have picked a different tool. So y'all let me know what you think on that. And that'll probably happen. So kind of bringing back the Friday Fool tools, except it won't be on Friday. Probably do those on Tuesday. Still going to keep the Bibster content on Friday. So anyway, appreciate y'all hanging out.
Bye.
See y'all.
Thanks.
How do you end this thing? You figure it out.